Good evening all, and welcome to the Property Ventures webinar. Thanks very much for joining us. I hope you've all had a chance to get home, have some dinner, take your favourite shorty street and get yourselves a drink. My name is Kieran Jones. I'm an investment property strategist and compliance officer here at Property Ventures Real Estate. And tonight we're going to have a chat with this fellow next to me about the market at the moment, where it may be going, and then discuss some pre-construction new build opportunities out in the market and why we believe they're a great opportunity. And then we're going to talk about some current market opportunities that we actually have around the Auckland area. Hopefully we'll get through this in 40-45 minutes. But I'll start off by introducing this fellow next to me. He needs a little introduction. He's doing his 110th podcast tomorrow with people all the way from All Blacks through to chief economists. He's involved in APIA. He's been a guest editor at the Property Investor magazine. He's principal of Property Ventures Real Estate and an avid investor himself. He's a little deaf in one ear and his heart runs a little bit quick. So make sure you speak up if you're talking to him, or you're writing bold if you're asking questions. But so Mark, you know, everything I read in the papers and listen to on the radio, no one knows where the market's going. What makes you think you've got an idea of where it's happening?
Gee, who says I know, Kieran? Well, so thanks, Kieran. It was a pretty good introduction to where you started talking about my my normality issues I have in life. But that's all good, and many of you might know that anyway. Yeah, well, just good question, and I mean it's a great question, and we'll probably talk about that soon. But one thing that over the lockdown, Jared Kerr, the chief economist from Kiwibank, come on as a guest on a podcast video one day. And one thing he said that I've remembered, and I've said it a lot since, is if anyone says to you, this is going to happen after COVID, and as you said, stop listening to them, because no one bloody knows, because we've never been here before. And as you said, economists go on data. They do base everything on data from previous cycles or previous years, and they've got no data. This has never happened. This is a financial crisis, they call it, with a hell of a lot of money around the country and the world. So it's not a financial crisis, it's just something that's different. So I'll talk about soon about what I think about the market update on where I see things. So
well, it's interesting, and it will be interesting feedback, Mark, because as a company ourselves, we've probably had one of the best months ever.
Yep.
At Property Ventures. Huge,
and we've had almost every sale this month or last month now went to multi-offer, and running out of stock quickly. But then we're starting the month with 10 or 11 under contract, which is a pretty cool start for us, that's for sure. One of our best, so something's going quite well right now. But we'll get the show started. What are we sort of talking about tonight? And we're just going to go through. Can someone just put a chat to say you can hear us? So we hope you can. Kieran can hear me and I can hear him at this stage.
But we're a foot away, so it'd
be nice if I see Hamish is there. Hamish, do you want to put a
type of message?
Type of message, just
so
so
you can hear us.
We'll be geez, no one's coming on. I hope you can hear us. Okay.
Yep. Fire on.
Okay, cool. Rightio. Excellent. Thank you. System's working. Love it. Okay. So we're going to go through tonight just a few things. For those that don't know who we are, I won't bore you to death. I'll take about a minute to tell you that. We'll go through a market update of where we're seeing things now. One of the biggest things, the myths and of new builds. So many people out there go, oh, there's so many risks with new builds, and yes, there are some risks. Not, I wouldn't say a tenth of the risks that people think there are. So I'm just going to talk about them and probably squash some of those risks to you that are listening and watching tonight, and then go through why new builds, so why I think new builds are good right now, and I think I've got pretty good reasons to back that up. And then so we'll talk about tonight's properties. We've got to you. Hey, it's not all about sales, it's about educating yourself, and the more educated you become, the better choices you make with what you do. We'll do a few tips and bits. They'll explain that afterwards. and that's about it. But before we start, I have to do this disclaimer. I'm not a financial advisor. I am just a regular bloke out there that's done property for 24/7 for about 14 years now, and just saying what I think in my opinion, and on behalf, I guess, of what Property Ventures sort of thinks of different things. But it's a personal thing from what I'm seeing and done and doing at the moment. So
and we'll throw in a caveat there as well, because those that do know Mark know that he did lose his pants on property in the early days, and I think that's one of Mark's drivers to hoping and trying to educate others to avoid his mistakes as well.
Definitely a big driver for me, and we might talk about that a wee bit soon. So yeah, cool. Okay, so who we are? We're a team of 18. We're from Mangere to Dunedin, have agents in all those areas. We used to only be a one-on-one buyers agency for investors. I mean, investors paid us to find them property. That's all we used to do. We do normal real estate sales now. That's most of our business. We are different because of how we started. So why would you use Property Ventures if you were selling a property? Main with two reasons. One, we go to the same media than all the other agencies go to. We've also got tens of thousands of investors we go out to that we tell about your property that don't know about your property until we tell them. And for us, that's one of our really big things, and especially with some properties, especially that we do, that's really massive for us. So that's that. And the other way is why do buyers come through us? Because we get an amazing number. If buyers work very closely with us, we get a lot of properties come our way from unusual sources, we'll say, and sometimes it's not all about the best price like most people want when they sell a property. Yeah. Sometimes it's about the just getting the sale quickly. So that's what we can offer. You know, why are we different? That's two of the reasons why we're different. Plus, we don't have in-house fighting like most agencies out there. We all support each other, but that's another story for another day. We network with every investor group around the country. We obviously, Kieran's already said too much about me, so it's all good. We obviously do the podcast videos and stuff, and all those good things there. So I love teaching, preaching, and just doing, but not teaching, preaching, just talk about what I do, and that's important. So we don't teach or preach what I wouldn't do and don't do, so it's all good. So market update, right? So I'll start off my explanation as, why is the market hotter than the so-called experts were predicting probably 2 months ago? Everyone's quite surprised with how hot the market is right now, and we've already sort of mentioned that, most of our sales last month, we have gone up a lot from what we were the 3 or 4 months before, but they've all gone to multi-offer. They're all getting good prices, not always, but usually good prices. And we're talking Auckland here mainly. We're talking about Auckland tonight, so that's what we're talking about. Christchurch is very similar, to be fair, at the moment. But the market's hot and a lot of things are happening. So, why? The biggest thing is saying, why is that? And one of the things, if we go back to the day before COVID happened, or we all got locked up for 2.5 months, pre-COVID days, right before then, there was a shortage of properties. The market had been heating up from about November last year in Auckland, and it got to a stage where there wasn't enough stock and there were a lot of buyers, a lot of first-home buyers, a lot of just normal buyers, and few investors sort of coming into the market. So that's where we were before COVID. Everyone's going during the COVID, which was fair enough, and I thought the same thing too, going, well, what's going to happen after COVID? Well, there's going to be a shitload of properties going to come up because there's all these people are going to lose their jobs and what have you. Just think about that one point there for a moment. I think the unemployment rate, I haven't checked it, I'm not great with stats, it was about 2 or 3% before COVID. Yep. And they were predicting to have 10% after COVID. Not there yet, but that's what they're predicting to go to. That's fine. So you look at that 7% of the market, the working market, people who might be unemployed looking for a new job, and you look around what sort of people they are, and there is a mixture. There is a pretty good mixture. A lot of those people are people that are renters. Yet there are certainly a lot of people who own homes as well. And I don't know if that's 25% or I haven't got a stat on that, but what I'm seeing, experiencing from people, that's probably 25 or 30% of people who own homes that may be losing lose, sorry, 25% of that 7%.
Yeah, right.
So we're talking about 1 or 2% of the working population of people who own homes that might be moving that now have to move. So it's enough that the second half of the year, yes, there should be more places come on the market. So automatically, we all thought, and even Kiwi Bank on that webinar we did, they were saying the same thing. They were going, we'll probably come down. We think as a bank will come down about 10% generically, which means forget about commercial, which will struggle, forget about Queenstown, which is going to struggle, or not forget about all those reasons taken into account why it's 10%. So I was going, yeah, maybe Auckland might drop down 5%. I don't think it will now. If it drops, it might drop a little bit, but only a little bit.
Yeah, but
and
Mark,
the reasons why.
Where do you think that's going to drop? I mean, you're talking 5-10%. I mean, surely that's not the bottom of the market.
Well, what do you mean the bottom of the market? The bottom of the market is well, that would be because Auckland's been low anyway for such a long time. It's just started to come up, so it is not a lot. I don't think it can sort of go down anyway. It could go back to where it was. But for the reason I'm sort of about to talk to is my reason why I think sort of whether it will, won't. And I said, who knows? We are after COVID now, so we can talk with a bit more authority than we could 2 months ago when we had no authority to talk about any of this. When you feel close. So the after COVID thing. So what's different about that? Yes, there probably will be. And to answer your question, the government subsidy runs out about nowish for some people, and then some have been extended for a little bit. So between sort of, I was saying from July onwards, we might get more properties coming to market. Certainly haven't seen it yet. So what's happening now after COVID? I go, well, after COVID, there's a few things that are happening. There's so before I even talk to expats, so after COVID, so before COVID, it was busy, shortage of properties. What's happened in 2.5 months since before then was no properties have come on back in the market. So there's still a lack of properties. All those people, apart from perhaps 2% of them, were still there wanting to buy, and that's where they're desperate. They're really desperate now. Then you've got a whole new lot of buyers that have come in the last 2.5 months. That people who normally want to buy a property, and for different reasons they want to buy a property, they've come into the market, apart from perhaps about 2 or 3% of them. And so you've got all these extra people on top, which has surprised all of us, including ourselves. And then on top of that, you've got 60,000 expats coming back. I don't know, it's 2,000 a week or a day or something coming back to New Zealand, still coming back. And all of a sudden, you've got the investors who, talking to Matthew Gilligan from GRA recently, and I know he wasn't looking at investing that much this year. He's telling the world now, investors to say, go and buy properties now. It's never been a better time. You get lower interest rates, LVR rates are better than they've been for 4 years. Now's a good time. So all of a sudden, these are just reasons what I've got on the PowerPoint at the moment of why the market now is hot, in my opinion. It's hot. I wanted to try to explain why, because some people said to me, "Hey, Mark, why is it so bloody hot right now?" And for me, that's the reasons why. So and how long that will continue, who knows? Next question there. What about the rest of the year? What about from now the last 6 months of the year, when we thought there'll be all this hurt, we thought there'd be no buyers? The answer to that is a wee bit who knows, but I have to make a decision tonight. So possibly there will be more properties on the market, but we're all hoping, all agents in our team are hoping there are more properties come back on the market, because there's a real need for it right now. So I think that will happen, and we explained why before with the unemployment there will be more, but not as many as maybe we all think. But my big question to everyone is how many buyers are out there? And I just explained about that. There's still a lot of buyers haven't been able to find stuff before, back in February, March. There's now buyers been trying to buy the last 2 or 3 months. There's now not only investors who are out there buying, there's other people going, it's never been a better time to buy my own home at 3% or 2.8%. So there's a lot of really good reasons why. So that's my big question now. Is I was thinking 5% for Auckland. That's what I was predicting. Not that we knew anything about after COVID, but that's what I was sort of thinking. I don't know if that'll happen. Hey, it might. I don't know, but I have pretty good confidence myself, and I'm buying right now that that's not going to happen. So
everyone's got a different reason for buying, right? I mean, just last week we're talking to a school principal He needed an apartment in West Auckland and a holiday home in Matakana.
Yeah.
I mean, life goes on, so it's not everyone's affected.
No, not at all, 100%. So, and that's sort of course the other thing is, of course, we've had a lot of calls the last month. People from overseas, can we buy in New Zealand?
Well,
and a lot of people who are looking at trying to move to New Zealand, and we're very fortunate. We have got probably the most desirable place in the country right now. My big caveat to this, I guess, is we've been very fortunate. I haven't heard today's stats. If anyone was tested positive today, 2 days in a row.
Yep.
We're lucky and we very desperately hope that it doesn't go back in the community, because that will put different, slightly different for one. I'm assuming here that it stays people going in the country, and that's as far as it gets in the country. So obviously that would be different again, but that would actually, if it was another 2 months, that would make it almost a repeat, probably another 4 months time sort of thing. But so who knows? Anyway, so that's my sort of take on the market where it is at the moment. But it wasn't all about the market today. We want to talk about new builds, and one of the things is eliminate some of the myths of people that don't understand new builds. And that's really what I'm going to talk about in this one here.
Just briefly before we go on to that, Mark, a couple of weeks ago we did a webinar on why Christchurch is hot, and there's a lot of reasons for that. The price of the land was reset after the earthquake, and so a 2-bedroom home down there is on average around $200,000 cheaper than what there is in Auckland.
Yep.
How do you see the Auckland market itself? You got any views on that as compared to the wider New Zealand market?
Well, Auckland's always a safe market to be in. Reason for that, population growth. It doesn't have the big falls that the smaller town with one big industry, whatever, has.
Yep.
So that's one thing that always keeps that going. Christchurch, another market that I think is going to do very well. It's few of us are predicting it's 1 in 4 years ago. It's been pretty steady for such a long time. We think that's got good growth coming up. Auckland keeps just ticking along, and occasionally has a wee blip, and we had that last year and a half up to October last year, and then it just keeps on going away. Then sometimes you have these big lifts sort of thing that goes on.
Cool. That's good.
So with new builds, and I'll probably jump ahead before I go through that. Even Kieran mentioned before about me having a bit of misdemeanor a few years ago, about 12 years ago.
Hearing the dirty laundry.
Hearing the dirty laundry.
We're being transparent. Open the kimono.
Yep. But I had a shocking situation in my life, and I lost my life savings back then, which wasn't very much back then. Things are going quite well now, considering how things were back then. And I lost my whole life savings on a couple off the plan stuff. So I've got a hidden agenda, and my hidden agenda is I went through a lot of pain. My family went through a lot of pain, and I don't like that happening to anyone else that I can help make it happen to. Hence one of the reasons here. Yes, we got some sales in tonight if people want to buy a deal, but it's about helping people and helping them. And I wish I could have helped me sort of 11, 12 years ago, and I got into, or 14 years ago, and I got into it. Just quickly, 3 things why I lost money: inexperienced developer, no sunset clause, which we'll talk about soon, and I didn't have enough experience or had people I could ask about, is it? Do I have to go and do what I have to do? And so I went and did it. Not a choice of losing a couple $100,000 or $6,500 a month interest, which with no income. So it wasn't a great situation back then. So that's my wee hidden agenda. But let's go through and talk about some of these myths. If the project doesn't go ahead, you lose your money. I hear that all the time. And there were a few deviant, I guess, developers 10 to 20 years ago. There's still a couple out there at the moment. You've got to be careful. And the only reason that would happen is if you went privately with some inexperienced developer holding your own money, and it didn't have a proper sale and purchase contract, and your solicitor was a real dummy. This thing happens is you buy a new build through a real estate agent, through a good company, a good developer, and deposit goes and sits in their solicitor's trust account. Now, the only way you could potentially lose your money is if you had a crooked solicitor and they run away, and they would end up in prison for the rest of their life. So or 20 years. That's the risk. I mean, that doesn't really happen too much. I don't know. I've heard that happening or a solicitor's happening. The money sits in a solicitor's trust account. If if anything happens, the development falls over 3/4 of the way through, right near the end, at the start, you get your money back. So and that's the worst situation can happen. Most clauses actually say you get the interest as well. Well, interest ain't very much at the moment, so you're not going to make any money there. So the biggest risk really with a development, if it's say a year away from now, is you might have to pay $50,000 deposit, say. That's money that you can't use somewhere else. That's the only risk. So that's it. So that is a myth. Now, as far as losing your money, your deposit, if it doesn't go ahead, that's clearly a myth. Second one I hear all the time: if it takes too long, the developer can cancel the contract and charge more for the property with other people, and that happened a lot 15 years ago. That did happen quite a bit.
They used to cancel the contracts because they could get another 50, 60,000. So they go beyond, go beyond the date, resell them all again.
Yeah.
A lot of real estate agents do it that way. But.
Yep, and there are. So there's two things to be aware of: the purchaser sunset clause, which I didn't have and should have had 12 or 13, 14 years ago, and the development sunset clause, which Kieran just talking about, which you never want to have in your sale and purchase agreement. And a good agent should be telling you that if it's in there, and it shouldn't be in there anyway, or your solicitor should pick that up pretty easily. In generations before us, development sunset clauses, Kieran just said, is you come up and it's it might be a year and a half, it might be 2 years from now. 2 years from now, the place isn't finished, and they go, geez, this is good. I've sold them for 600,000. Now we're 800,000. I'm going to cancel all the contracts because of now we're going to make 200,000 times 50 properties.
Yep.
We're going to be a whole lot more money, $10 million richer. And they used to do that. They happen a lot in Wellington, happen a lot in Auckland, and that's fair. And that's what people talk about with this question. That's why they say that. Now that hasn't happened. I haven't seen that happen for at least a decade or so. Certainly no developments that we've ever been involved in, we don't even allow that clause to be in there. So what you need to have is a purchaser sunset clause, which is in all our contracts we ever do, excuse me, apart from my one privately that I did many years ago in Christchurch, was you have your purchaser sunset clause. And what it means is, for example, we've got one that's due to finish in the last quarter next year. So what the sunset clause will normally be about a year after expected time a property's finished. And why it's a year after and not 3 months after is because things do get delayed, and it's not always the developer's fault. They stop making stuff in China or whatever they do, or stop making stuff overseas, or there's a virus that the world stops for 3 months. There's plenty of reasons why, and that's why they have it usually about a year later. If it's 2 or 3 years later, then you might question it. But a year is very fair in all my experience that I've seen. A year is very fair. I didn't have that. I could have claimed that and pulled out of the thing. A good example of that, we're selling Alexandra Park at the moment. It's one of the largest, if not the largest development in Auckland. It's taken the longest probably development that I've known. It's taken 5 years to finish. It's finished, the first 2 buildings are finished in about a month. The only reason we're back there is the 230 odd units or apartments were sold 5 years ago, and then we have had 2 sunset clauses, and people have gone, hey, I don't want to buy it anymore. It's taken too long. You, the vendor, the purchaser, has the choice to say, I'm going to give it back, and they've handed about 32 apartments back that we're now selling ourselves, which is good. And they're good apartments because they're just at random as people handing them back. Of course, you don't have to do that. You have the choice of handing it back or holding it. Yeah. And the good thing about Alexandra Park, most people who bought this 4 or 5 years ago, they've made at least $200,000 on their units. So they're
still brand new, right?
And they're still brand new, finished, still brand new. So they haven't even a lot haven't done that. And guess what? The other thing you can do then is you can, if you don't want it, you can still go and sell it. So you get it, settle it, or sell it beforehand, and you can make some money. So sunset clauses are essential to have in any contract, but they're a good thing if it's a purchase sunset clause, a really good thing, and you need to make sure that's in there, and as I said, always will be. This is probably the other major question people have is we can't get finance for that period of time. Well, yeah, and it is hard because a lot of to get the real deals off the plan, and I'll talk about soon, you have to you have to get in early. You have to get in really early, and that's hard because you might not be able to. It might not be finished for a year from now, and the bank might say, I'm only going to give you 6 months, or even some banks right now 3 months approved finance, and that's a risk that you have, and it scares a lot of people. But there's a couple of things that go with it, and I'm not. I mean, it's a pretty bold statement for me to say that because finance changes all the time. So don't take that for gospel. I'll disclaim with that line there. But if you can get your finance now, you're both working, you and your partner working, you should be able to get your same finance with the same bank at settlement. Yes, rules change and you might not be able to, but if you can comfortably get finance now, so comfortably get it, you should be right. As I think, Kieran just about a few hours ago said to me about that statement. He said, if you buy a house now and in 3 months' time you'll
lose your job,
one of you lose your job, sort of thing,
we'll get sold.
You're in the same situation. If you're actually in a worse, probably a similar situation, but you do have choices. So if you can't get finance now and you want to buy an off the plan thing for a year's time, I'd be going, no, that's probably a bad idea, unless you've got you got a windfall coming your way soon. But otherwise, if you're in a good situation now, you would get finance easily, and it's a year down the track. It is a calculated risk, but you have options because, as I said, if you wait for a year down the track and then something does happen untoward, and then you can't get your finance, or you won't get finance, you have a chance to then resell the property. And we've sold a lot of properties. I know in Christchurch, one particular development, we sold 5. We sold them and then sold 5 more before settlement, and they all made money. There was only about 40 or 50k, but they made money, and they were all pretty happy with that. We were happy. We got 2 commissions. But
Exactly,
but that was good.
And many people that would have been involved maybe in the sugar tree situation in Auckland, was the same scenario. By the time they were built, there was plenty of room in there for commission for a resale, and to take anywhere from $40,000 to $70,000 profit and move on.
Yeah.
Not that that's the that's the goal with your buy and hold investment, but you still got your options.
Yeah, absolutely. So they're I could talk about this and stuff. They're the 3 biggest, I guess, kickbacks that we see. What people, and it's a real shame because sometimes they could be getting a really good start to their portfolio, and they haven't been able to take advantage of it because either maybe a solicitor's talked them out of it, or a bank, or they just don't trust it enough. And what they need to do is talk to a solicitor, not about just take everything the solicitor says in regards to risks and stuff. They're paid to do that, but sit there and tell them what you're actually trying to achieve, or go to a financial advisor or someone to talk about that. So they're my 3 major things. If you've got other myths or questions, you can put that on the questions to us, and we'll ask at the end of the night.
Yep. All
right. So the last real in-depth PowerPoint is why new builds. That's what we hear tonight, and I apologise to some of you may have heard me talk about some of the things in the slide before, but it's so relevant for me, and I'm buying new builds. I've bought 3 new builds in the last 2.5 years, and throwing up another one this year. Which one I want to buy? I've got another one finished this year out in out West Auckland, Cumu, and so this is what I think, and that's why I'm doing it. And this is a guy that lost a whole lot of money a while ago, but I'm doing it differently now and know what to do. So one of the things is, since the Labour-led government came in, they've put a lot of rules in there for investors, and some's good and healthy homes. I'm not saying they're all good or bad. They are what they are, but it's cost investors a heck of a lot of money. Not only you have to put heat pumps, you have to have healthy homes, you get sued, and then they've said you can't claim back expenses from homes if you're an investor anymore. They've made it really hard for investors, and a couple of years ago, a lot of investors pulled out of investing, and a lot sold their old stock. Now, what happened with that old stock was some investors didn't want it because it wasn't compliant. Excuse me. Home buyers actually brought some of them themselves because they didn't have to be compliant. They live in it. That's okay. What that's also done is put a lot of pressure on the rental market, especially with second-hand builds. Definitely with that. So that's just a sort of sets the scene for what's happened with investors in the last sort of 3 years with that. I was talking about 2 years ago with 3 property managers within a month. They all said exactly the same thing. Too many investors are selling their stock at the moment for their liking. So that obviously hurt them. Maintenance, obviously the big one. Maintenance, new build, you hope you don't have very much maintenance for the next 7 to 10 years, really. And I know several people have had new builds for 7 or 8, 10 years, and they're still saying no maintenance. That's what they love. So that's a big thing compared with, obviously we all know people had second-hand buildings, what that costs continually to maintain them.
The roof, the plumbing, electrical.
Yeah, we're looking at one place at the moment. We have to do, this is exactly what's an old 1930s place. We're doing electrical, and we're going to electrical and we have to do the roof. So there's, we're up to 25k, 30k before we start looking at the property. And actually, you don't get a surprise and you've got Duck's Quest or something in there with the plumbing, which makes it worse. So the maintenance is really important because obviously that helps with the cash flow. And at the moment, low interest rates, cash flow is good. Loan to value ratio is always at the very worst the same, or usually better. It's been better for the last 3 years than second-hand stock for investors. So you only had to have 20% where investors were doing 30% for second-hand stock. Second-hand stock has come down a bit at the moment. Loan to value ratio will always be cheaper for new builds. Low interest rates right now clearly is hugely important. If you can get a loan for 2.7 or 8%, like I saw this morning, you can, it makes it far better cash flow. The far better cash flow you get, the more the less risk you have, the more the cash flow is you're getting, the more money you're getting in the property, the more opportunity you're getting in a short time of when you might be able to buy another great property if one comes along. It's just the low interest rates are good, and if you're continually putting money into that property, if you can, it just takes all the risk out of it and sets you up really well for your future. So low interest rates are obviously never been a better time to buy anything, to be fair, right now, not only new builds. Quality tenants. I've had I bought a new build 1.5 years ago. I was stunned at the good quality of tenants that I had opportunity to put in there 1.5 years or 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago, a year or whatever, 1.5 years or so ago. I lowered my stand and put my daughter and a flatmate in there.
Not the best flatmate.
Not the best. That was superb. Couldn't get better people in there, in fact. And they were great. Unfortunately, they moved out the week before COVID, so I had it empty for 6 weeks, so 8 weeks. And the property managers to come back now, and I've got a doctor who just moved to town and his wife and his a young child. The first thing they do is buy a couple bits of furniture there. Not only do they pay the 4 weeks deposit, they pay a month's worth of rent. Just got told today by my property manager, just paid a second month's rent in advance again. It's good getting clients like that because they like good builds. A doctor, I guess, like that, he's on good income. He expects to be living in a good, clean, tidy place. But I get astounded with that. I've got that particular place is in Te Atatu Peninsula. Te Atatu South. I bought a second-hand place about 3 years ago in Te Atatu Peninsula. That's just been rented out, and I've got someone on a government who's on Windsor's paying their thing. And I'm not saying anything about either of those two people. Both should be solid money for me, so that's all good. Just new builds attract really good people. It just gives you more choice when you're getting more people look at that place. I don't get very many people look at my Te Atatu Peninsula place, and you got more choice of who you're going to choose in there. Chattel depreciation, obviously you can still depreciate chattels, and obviously if everything's new, it's worth more, depreciate more in the first 3 years. The biggest thing really with what I want to get through tonight is about buying new builds. Is when you buy a new build, you make money when you buy, right? And if you're an investor, you can make money when you renovate or develop. So the only way to really make money apart from capital gains with new builds is when you buy. So you have to buy well. Excuse me. It's different if you're buying something for yourself. I don't really care if I buy well or not. That's what I want to buy, and I'll buy it and I'll pay for whatever I want to pay for. It's emotional. Yeah. But if you buy an investment, and some people here might be listening, first home buyers might be. There are some on here. They might be for themselves, but hey, if you're a first home buyer and you can buy a discount and you didn't know you could, if you're not in a hurry for the place, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you want to get $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 cheaper if you wait a year for it? than you could have now. It's hard to get that $40,000 back.
So a lot of people don't really understand that, Mark. I mean, I've yet to meet a development, I guess, in the last 5-6 years where a developer, once he has his initial sales, pay for his to get his funding, doesn't put the pricing up.
Correct, 100%. And what most developers need, not all, most developers and not all of ours, most we deal with, they need a percentage of sales. That might be 50%, it might be 70%, it might even be 80% in a couple of cases of sales before the project actually goes ahead. Okay, so they need so many sales. So they come to us and go, hey, Mark or Kieran, in fact, and go, Kieran, we need to sell, there's 30 in the block, we need to sell 10 really quickly, and we'll give discount for that. And so they're coming to us because they want discount, so that's fine. So we get discount, and then they go, hey, 10 sold, great work, we'll put it up 20K, and we want to, we'll sell a few more. They sell another 5 or 10, they go, hey, great, we're where we need to be, let's put it up to the full price now, 20 or 30K higher than that. And that's where I've got there. What I love about, not just a new build with 2 or 3 properties, a new build project with potentially 10 upwards, 10 to 130 or 230 like Alexandra Park, is they need so many pre-sales. So there's a market within, it doesn't matter what they all, I've brought 3 properties in the last 2.5 years in Auckland new builds, and I was not planning on the market going up. It actually didn't until about 6 months ago and started going up again. But what I was banking on was within that, there's a market within the market inside those 4 fences, and that's what it goes up. It starts there, it goes up, it goes up, it goes up. And I'll talk about one of them afterwards tonight when we talk about one of the properties tonight.
Right, yeah. So a classic. Some of you may know of some developments where it's happened, but one just before COVID came on the market, the 3 beds were around 750K. Pretty much sold out in 2 weeks. Number of the properties fell over due to finance, due to the COVID situation. They came back on the market $50,000 more what they initially were, and they're sold out again.
Yeah, it's the opposite of second-hand mum and dad property sitting there, that if it sits too long, it goes down and goes down, or someone gets there. New builds go in, the first ones buy, then they go up and they go up and they go up.
Yep.
And that's how that happens. And then if you get the market goes up outside, well, you got a real win there. And I've got one that's finished later this year out in the Riverhead is going to be like that. I've already made the money within it, but also I've made some with capital growth out there as well, which I wasn't banking on. But so that's really important. That's one thing. If you can get in early, that's the real way of making money with new builds.
I was just going to say, we deal with developers that if we're selling the property, it can't be got cheaper elsewhere. It's part of the agreement we have with developers.
Yeah.
That the best price that we had in the market, you can get through us.
Yeah, 100%. Cool. Okay, I've taken a bit long on these slides, and I thought this, all right, we'll keep going through here. I mean, this is probably not so relevant now. Kiwi Build helped maintain the lower end of the market. They set the price with what 2-bedroom new builds were in Auckland at $599 and 3 bedrooms was $649. So it held the market there for a wee bit, which was quite good. It's just started creeping up again lately, but it's been quite good that it hasn't raced away in the last 3 years. It's sort of been reasonably standard, but we have certainly noticed the prices go up in the last, last year. I think they have gone up a bit, especially when you get to standalone places, because most of the Kiwi Build stuff are all terrace houses. And the biggest one for me, and I'm massive on this, maybe I'm at with my lifestyle choice. The under 40s, the younger generation today don't like the under 40s and people like me, and I'm over 40, as you can tell. We don't want to spend all weekend fixing the fence, trimming the hedges, painting the place, and what have you. That's just not what I want to do, and what the new generation do. They've got these that says, hey, there's a good event happening here, let's go and have a look at that, or spend some time with our friends. And that's what it is. So that's another reason why I think new builds, all that combined, I think new builds are fantastic, and moving ahead, it's got to be the place. A lot of new builds being built, they all seem to get filled when they're finished. And that's what I got about that. So that's the question there. You got any questions on that? Ask any questions, and Kieran will have a look at it. So just quickly going through why you're here tonight. Hopefully we've educated you a bit on pre-construction property. Hopefully we've done that. One thing with Property Ventures, we have properties all over the country, from Whangarei to Dunedin. A lot of new builds in Christchurch. We've got about 25 projects in Auckland that we can sell right now, and they're all types of properties. We had some stuff recently. We'll probably get some more in Turangi, of all places, for under 400k. And we're selling one of the best developments in New Zealand in Alexandra Park. So that's the extent of what we do. And terrace houses and flats and units and apartments. So we've got it all. What we like to think is discount property. That's what we do. You have to get in early to get that discounted property. There later on there might be something comes back, but usually you get that discount, you have to get in early, and that's pretty well that. So what we'll quickly go into is an opportunity to buy the cheapest in a development. Yeah, exactly, and that's what all I've done. My three I've brought, I've gone, let's buy straight away. So I've brought in the first 5 sales in the development, and they've been the cheapest, and you can't get better than that. That's where you make your money. Okay, so we've yes, it's a sales night at the end of it, and probably short numbers will drop off now, Kieran. But it's let's
talk about some reality, some of the real opportunities that are out there, and what there is, and a bit of the variance that you can see. And unfortunately, Mark won't let me talk about the West Auckland because we've got so much. But I'm going to get in a word in later on a couple of reasons. So.
No, that's all good. And we've got these are just 3 of about 20 different projects we've got access to, and a lot of them are really good. But I'm just going to go through these because for different reasons I think they're really good. I think these are one of the better ones we've had. It's actually not Howick, it's actually Highland Park, which is right next to Howick. It's about 350 metres from the Highland Park shops and big shopping area and centres out there, and not that a couple of minutes to a minute to Howick. This is a very good developer. They build high-end buildings normally, and so this is to sell. Last build they did, they had a $2 million properties in Christchurch, and here they have $5.5 million places in Auckland. I like how what we found is the biggest attraction of this are people that live in out East Auckland and how they like living in the area, and that's really important for them. They want to stay in the area, they want to stay by mum and dad, and they live out that way. So it makes sense to live there, and we've got some pretty good prices for an investor. Investors haven't probably been looking at these because it's not in the usual South Auckland or West Auckland. These are pretty well the same prices in South and West Auckland for the same sort of quality, or the same sort of price, or type what they are. And they're good, and it's just you got to use a rangitoto. The top couple floors, it's a couple of minutes drive to Buckham's Beach. It's a pretty special wee place. So
look, and when it comes to resale further down the track, it's just down the road to the Highland Business Park, Bodini Downs. You've got all those huge business areas out there where you got people looking for accommodation, and instead of houses, which the place went up and out around the Howick way, there's now some accommodation, but limited. This will be the first of its kind, which is 4 stories high.
It is truly, which is really good. Yeah. So what the facts are with it, we got 1, 2s, and 3s. In fact, there are 2 bedrooms with a study and 1 bedroom with a study as well. So it's a whole variety. So it's not everything's the same in this building. It's different. And on the top floor there, don't even see my mouse running around. Is a 3-bedroom and a 3-bedroom and a 2-bedroom in the middle. So then both 3 bedrooms are both available at the moment. So they're a pretty cool unit. The rental appraisals, which I think are actually low, but we don't try to push it to high, that's for sure. For the 1 bedrooms are 435 and the 2s are 515. We actually don't have a rental appraisal done for the 3 bedrooms. Excuse me. The prices for the 1 bedrooms, which are all on the ground floor, are 419. They'll start at 419. They do go a bit higher than that. And the 2 bedrooms are 615. 2 bedrooms, they start at 615. The 2 bedrooms and study up to about 665. Just to give you an exact example of what we've talked about, these 3, I don't know if you can see the mouse, but the middle apartments there are all 2 bedrooms, and the top 3, these 3 here are the premium ones. On the left side of the building, the sun comes up in the morning. that comes down on the right side of the building. These ones get the sun all day. Now they've both gone for $665 because that's what the price was for the two of those three. The third one, he's come back today, says Mark at $695 from now going forward. Okay, that's the way it works. And he goes, Mark, when 4 more are sold, they're going up again. And that's again, that's how it works. So that's all good. $795, there were going to be $815 or $795 for the 3 bedrooms. You do have to pay an additional $25K for a car park. So that's what it is, and that's where the prices are. So the price tonight, remembering that they are only going to go up, and he's alluded that to me today clearly, is he'll give a $10,000 discount, and that'll be, in effect, it'll be he'll give you it'll be on the contract $10,000 for furniture type thing, which is in fact $10,000 on cashback on settlement. So instead of costing $615 or $419, or only cost you only have to pay $605 or $409. So that's the sort of deal on that one there. I can't stress enough that I think this is a really cool place. Starting 4th quarter this year, completed 4th quarter next year. There's a sunset clause, which is I think September, October, the year after it's meant to be finished. So that's that one there. Come and see it. If you're interested in that, let us know. That 10,000 discount only lasts for today and tomorrow, and that sound like a bloody real estate salesperson.
Yeah,
Kieran.
It's not good.
I don't class myself as one of them, but that's just factual. Whatever I say is not talk, it's facts. It's how I deal. That's how I talk, and that's how we go with things. So, excuse me. So that's one Willoughby and Highland Park, Howick. So any questions about that, email me straight after this, or whatever you might do. Another one here, and it's been really interesting. Up till just recently, we've had a lot of people coming to us, especially first home buyers, and say, I don't want terrace, I want standalone
3-bed, thanks.
And all of a sudden, we've got a couple right now. We've got one on Peppertoe, and we've got this one here in Massey Road in Mangere. And Massey Road's a long road, a lot of you will know it well. This is right down near the end, near the airport end. It's 10 minutes drive to the airport. It's surrounded by new houses that have been built in the last 15 to the last year sort of thing. That's in that really nice part of Massey Road. These builds here are exactly the same that the same developer builds in Jacks Point. I've been down. I've been down there, near Queenstown. In them, I've stood in them, and the 3-bedroom, 2.5 bathrooms, and they're great places. I was there on Sunday just having a look. But actually, the frames are up for all these places right now, and they'll be finished later this year, which is good. There's a bit of a twist with this one. So they're all 3-bedroom standalone. On the complex on the front, there is Kiwi build houses, terrace houses, and I think they've all been sold. And so these are the only ones here. So these are just started marketing these right at the end of last week. Just had a call to a couple of hours ago from one of the developers for it, and one's got an unconditional contract, and 2 others have come in with a contract in the last 2 days. So these are going to be good. So these guys unfortunately aren't going to give us a discount. I said, come on, you got to give us something. They're not. The rent $650 to $680 per week. Again, yeah, sounds lowish, but that's all right. And the price of the are $790 at the moment on them. On most of them are $790, which is pretty cool for a 3-bedroom. These are over 100 square meters. Nice units. No garages, but car parks like it is in the picture. You can fit two cars on each section. What he is, it's not a body corp, which kills the cash flow sometimes. Residents Association, so $360 per annum. That pays for things like the rubbish and a couple of little bits and pieces and gardens and stuff. And tidy up and roadways. But and that's really about it. So there's obviously still rules. You can't paint your house pink or something. So you have to keep it sustainable. But
Mark always wants to do so.
Yeah. Absolutely. Have a bit of variety in the colours. All good. And so what they have said, so settlements this year. It finishes later this year. Well, go back. I haven't written on the other deal on this one. So what they said they can do, and I don't really like advertising too much about this. It sounds like snake oil. Is they've come back and said if you obviously they need 10% normally. They've said, and this is the only development they're doing this for. They've got their pre-sales. They're not going to put the price down. They're only going to put it up, and they've told me that today. But they said if someone come along and they would do an in-house bond thing. If any of those you don't know what a bond is, instead of paying 10% deposit now, you only pay 1%. So only about what, $7,900 until settlement, which is about 5 or 6 months away, and which is great. It means you don't do that. What you do have to show is still you have to show that you can. Excuse me. We'll just get rid of that. Come up on your screen, I think.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'll just get rid of. I'm not sure that's up on all your screens. Hope it's not.
Yeah, it is.
There's what you'll find. Where was I? Yeah, well, the 1% is so they're wanting to do their 1%. If you can show that you can get your finance, even to the fact that they'll put a caveat over for the 10%. But it just means if so you can afford this thing. It just means you can buy it for $7,900, settle it at the full amount at later on this year. So that's the deal with that one. And that's the only reason I've mentioned this one over, because it's something a wee bit different over the ones we've got. And we've got Papatoe. We've got Papatoe.
Yeah, Papatoe. We've got three bed and 4 bed in Papatoe as well, and they're around that $750 mark. So another good options. If you're looking for a 3 or 4 bed out in the South Auckland area, give us a call.
Yeah, and that's standalone. We've got numerous others that are terrace houses, and so that's all good. Yeah, the other one, I don't want to talk too many properties tonight. We're just going to talk about a place that I'm really familiar with out in Glenbrook in South Auckland. It's what I think of Pocono probably 5 or 6 years ago. Except you don't go down the bottom of it.
You're never going to sit in the fog in this place. Yeah.
You're not going to be in the go down. This is around the Mangere Heads. It's a beautiful site. What I've got over, I'm not sure if you guys can see that or not.
Yep, they can see the master plan.
Oh no, I'm not worried about the other bits and pieces. But so what we've got here, we've actually got a show home. We've just got a developer who we deal with. They're currently building a place for me at the moment in this exact development, and so I obviously trust them. And they're doing a show home, which we don't have a show home very often to sell. What I've got this week planned here, and it's hard to see. The white bit there is what's currently being built at the moment. This is stage 1. Most of these sections are sold. There's a couple not, and probably 3/4 of these have now got houses on. The left side's another stage. There's a few stages there. Another stage here. If you look right on the right side where there's a white part looking out to the water, that's a marina that starts being built next year, and with shops and everything there. If you want to get in earlier in a place in Auckland right now, yes, it's an hour from the middle of town, or just under. This has got to be one of those beautiful sites. I stand there. I've got a site. I don't know if you can see my mouse at all, but if I've got a site right where my cursor is, and it's got uninterrupted views out there, and it's beautiful, and it's just gone under contract for $850,000. So that's what I've got there. If we click through here, what they're offering you for the show home is a $758,000 purchase. That's retail price, what it's cost them to build it with a section. You'd have to come up, pay the land cost, and then pay the money on the way through. They've dropped to $20,000 off because you're helping them out. So I'd go down to $738 would be the buy price, which is $100K cheaper than my one, which is pretty good, great value, and not very far. It's almost across the road from mine. Mine's probably got superior views. This has still got good views. Yeah. And it's right down close to what's called the $1 million strip. Yeah. So my one's there, and this one's right there. Yeah. This here, well, I brought right it. This is called the $1 million strip. Everything there is worth over between 1.050 and probably 1.3. So anyway, so what do you get? They'll release it back for you from a 1+1 year lease for 5% yield, and it's used as a show home for 1 or 2 years. So
now just on this one, this is a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, master with ensuite. Mark's was a 3-bed, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a 3 with a media room with a big study, which is another bedroom.
So this is a very good opportunity. Won't be around. We've got people that chase show homes. I'm surprised. We only got it last weekend. Surprised it hasn't gone already. So again, will be built within the as soon as someone signs a sale and purchase agreement, it'll be built within 6 months. They'll lease it for a year with a 1+1. Yeah. And obviously with all the upgrades that comes with it being a show home.
Yeah. So that's that's that one. So that's why I put those 3 properties. They're all a wee bit different.
They're all different.
Howick's, the Highland Park one in Howick is really it's so new. It's really new in the sale process. So there's still massive opportunity there to get some really good discount. It is going to go up a lot during the next 12 months. Within that, as I said, within that own little cycle. Forget about what Auckland or East Auckland's doing. The next one, because it's standalone, and we've got a few standalones now, and we've got, we've got that's a show home, because we don't get show homes very often. They usually get picked up really quickly. So it's the first time we've really talked about it tonight. We've really got 15 minutes over time. But what else do you sort of got? I mean, we've got a heap of it.
Look, there's a lot. I mean, the interesting thing is Mark's talked pretty much South Auckland, and there's an apartment complex, there's some standalone 3 and 4s, there's a show home. We get a lot of people looking for stuff out in West Auckland. There's a great developer from Hamilton. Many of you know him, Andrew Yeoman's done a lot down there. His second development in Sunnyvale in West Auckland is almost sold out. It's only got 2 bed, 1.5 baths left. They start around that 659 mark. But I just want to put in a quick plug. There's a great development being done out in the heart of Kumeu, right? The heart of Kumeu. You can walk to the supermarket. It's flat. You got a range of 1, 2, and 3 bedroom homes in there. Whether you're a first-time buyer, investor, or a downsizer, there's an option there for you. And they start at 521. Look, we were out there with the developer on last Thursday, and he's saying the margins in the first in stage 1, just to get them sold, are very thin, and the prices will be going up a minimum of $25,000 to $30,000 per site in stage 2. So it's just down the road from the largest mall in New Zealand, close to a number of great golf courses, the beaches, the wineries, and all the rest. Seriously, take a look at that on our website, or ask us for some more information.
Excellent stuff. Thanks, Kieran. He sounds more like a salesperson, doesn't he? No, I don't know. He'll be a debate. You can tell us in the chat. At the end of the day, people need to understand these are the opportunities that are out there, but 100%. You need to get in. There's no point coming around at stage 2 and going, well, hang on, I'm paying 45 grand more than what these guys paid. Well, hey, you had your chance. Yeah, and it's just what happens. Yeah. It's just not making up. That's what happens. So it's all good. So just to finish up, we're just a few things on tips and bits, and that's it. There's obviously it's basic. If you're an investor, you're not an investor. Sorry about this. Basic fundamentals of investing still, you want to buy well. That's why you buy early with new builds. You got to get a good location. Well, hopefully if someone's prepared to spend $8 million on developing something, they've probably got something in a good location. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to sell them. And just one thing for me is make sure you get a expert solicitor or financer that understands new builds and also understands what you're trying to achieve. It's a big bugbear of mine of professionals not knowing what you're trying to achieve. So that's a huge one. We have one agenda, as I said. We want to sell you the best property to suit what your situation is. That's whether you're a first-time buyer, and if we can help you buy a discount, which you didn't know you could, that's great. Whatever your situation, and whether Auckland's right for you, or maybe it's not. Maybe it's Tauranga, maybe it's Christchurch, maybe it's whatever. We'll do that. You can come and see Kieran any time, and it's free of charge. We're not going to charge you like others might do. We'll sit down with you and we'll go down and talk about, we've got a booklet we go through with you to go through situations and what have you. We've got the whole team you need. We have to be careful on who we can't say you must use this person as real estate agents. We're not allowed to do that, but we can give you a choice of people, and we've got everyone. We've got everyone you even need in the team. And if you obviously want one of the 3 properties we mentioned tonight, contact us after the show, email, call, whatever. But do something and register. If you're really serious, you go, what now? It's too late at night. Just register your interest. Hey, Mark or Kieran, I'm really interested in the one in Howick or whatever it might be, or tell us more about Kumeu, or hey, I just want to come and have a chat to you guys. That'll be great. So you come and see us. You can sell through us. You can buy through us, you can do anything. You can listen to the New Zealand Property Podcast video series. I must now say it's the longest lasting one in New Zealand, the first, that's why. And that's good. So pretty well, you've got our our details down the bottom of the page there. Kieran at Property Ventures, Mark Property Ventures. Any questions of?
Well, we've had a number of questions. I don't know whether we've actually got time. You've got time for?
We'll go through a couple questions.
Okay.
Maybe.
Well, I've had some come in here. One from Peter. Should I get pre-approved?
Should be pre-approved. 100% should get pre-approved, and especially in this market these days, the market's, and generally if the market's hot, you need to be pre-approved to do it. If you're buying a new build, it's still good to be pre-approved so you know. But at the end of the day, if you see something, or you saw something tonight, or you see something one day and you haven't, get in there. I mean, get it under contract. Just the other thing I should have said early on is the biggest thing. People are scared to put it any place, but a new build under contract. Just by getting a sale and purchase agreement, yes, it's scary. It's about 30 to 100 pages long. By initiating all those pages and stuff, there's a clause there that says, the due diligence clause that says you have 10 working days to decide if you want to buy that property or not. And you can pull out for any reason you want within that 10 days. But what that 10 days does, it gives you a chance to go to your solicitor. It gives you a chance to go to your bank and get your finance. But it means that no one else can go and get that, especially if it's in usually 2 or 5 properties or 10 properties. No one else can go get that ahead of you before the prices go up. But you should, if you haven't got pre-approved, when you're looking at buying something soon, go and get your pre-approval.
Look, I've got a good one here from Andrea. She's saying you're working for the developer. How do I know I'm getting a good deal?
Yeah, very, very good question. Because they go, oh, what are you trying to sell us? Because you're getting paid from. And as a developer, we don't charge you guys anything for this. And as I said, the developers come to people like us because they need those pre-sales. And so they're not about getting the best price for the apartments when they first go on the market, or townhouse, or whatever they might be. What they want to do is get them sold like that. And that's why they come to us. They know we've got thousands of people in our database, and we can go to them and hopefully we'll, and we get people contact us every day. So hopefully we can sell them. So yes, we are working for them, but we're also but part of working for them is getting the place sold. And they'll do discounts. Like tonight, the guy and the developer from One Willoughby, he's given a discount for the night when he's about to put them up. He did say by chance if someone wanted the 695, he would talk bigger than 10k tonight. But that's the reason why. Can
I throw in there as well is that we're interested in what you're after, because we're still going to get paid by a developer where would he sell you a 200, oh, it'd be nice to get 200, a $400,000 place or $1 million place. It's no different. It's more about what are your goals, what are the key things that you need to meet around your numbers, and we've got a property that we can show you that'll meet those goals. So we don't own anything. We've got no encumbrances around having to sell so many properties. So it's like once we get to meet you and understand what your key drivers are, then we can work with you to put you into the property that works for you.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. No, that's great. So I think we might we've got 3 or 4 there, but we'll unless you've got any burning question there, we might sort of wrap it up. And yeah, just if you're interested in those 3 properties tonight, please get back to us quickly, and we'll come back to you tomorrow, overnight or tomorrow. But as I said, they're just a throw in the ocean of what we got. As I said, Kieran says, you've heard a little bit briefly about my story. I don't want that to happen to other people. I know we go there, but we do care. So we want to, because we care, because our business and our name is done on how we look after our clients. And we look after our clients well, they tell everyone else, and we come back, and that's why we do quite well. So give us a buzz.
Give us a buzz. Cost you nothing to spend some time with us. We'll sit down, come and have a coffee with you and your partner, either in your home or you come into the office, and run through a booklet that just understands your goals and what you're trying to achieve. And from there, we can find you a property, an investment property that'll work.
Absolutely. Well, good. So thanks for your time. Thanks for hanging in there, and go back and watch your reruns of
Shorty Shit, okay, and Master Chef, I think.
And grab another beer, and or orange juice or coffee, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
So thanks very much.
Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.